Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I thought that I would talk about some products that are kind of new to Sephora that have been released over the last couple of months that I have really been into. I've done this video one other time here on my channel, and it's basically where I just mentioned some products that I have been really loving and that I definitely think that they are worth checking out. Now this is a little bit different than say like a monthly favorites video, because these are products that I have been loving since I got them, that I've been using for month after month after month. They have become my top shelf, top use, just some of my favorite products, and I feel like they're products that can stand the test of time. That is how much I love them. With favorite products, it's just more of, I liked it this month, but you know, you might not hear very much about it in the coming months. These are products that I have mentioned time and time again on my channel. They are newer release. I would say probably within the last 2 or 3 months, all of these products have come out to Sephora. And if you have not paid attention to them, if you have not noticed them, I'm definitely saying maybe you should take a second look at them, because I think that they're really good standout products. I'm not exactly sure how many products are gonna be in this video. The last one I had about 10 products. I think this one I have a little bit less because I haven't been as excited about products. I honestly have just been using the same stuff over and over again because I have been so in love with it. I am wearing as much of the products on my face as I can today, except for the foundation, because I am filming a Foundation Friday at the exact same time. So I just thought I would make a dedicated video to these products. If you're into this kind of video, just kind of let me know down below. That way I can keep doing them for you guys. And before we get into the video, I just quickly want to say that if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. If you do not mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. I post 4 to 5 videos a week, every week here on my channel, and it's a little bit of everything. So I definitely think that if you like makeup, if you like fashion and things like that, this might be a good spot for you. And go ahead and hit that button down below, and I feel like you won't regret it. And if you're not new to my channel, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to join and support. And yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and talk about some new releases, or some fairly new releases at Sephora. And let me tell you why I absolutely love those products. So yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and get into it. So in no particular order whatsoever, I'm just gonna grab the things off of the pile. Now the first thing that I want to talk about that I have been super impressed by, that I have actually not mentioned on my channel, but I have been using it religiously since I got it. It was probably in a haul video maybe a month or 2 ago. And this is the Kat Von D Lock-It Blotting Powder in the shade Light. Now, I love this powder. I picked it up because of Kathleen Light. She says that it was like a pore refining primer, even though that's not what it's marketed as. She was just so in love with it that I just kind of decided, and she does have more dry skin, so I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. Now, what I love this for is because, as you guys know, I do lean a little bit more dry, but I definitely do produce a little bit of oils in my T-zone. But a lot of the places where, like for example, I produce oil in my nose, but right in this area is extremely dry. So it is a very fine line with me with finding products that are going to work. Now this will take that oil down instantly and just make your makeup look freshly applied, like you just put it on. It never looks cakey. It just never dries and never makes my skin feel too matte, too dried out. And I actually posted a video, and I usually do not do this because I like posting videos like right when I first wake up and when I first kind of have applied my makeup, within an hour or 2 of me first applying my makeup. I forgot what video it was. It was my, I think it was my most recent Will I Buy It? And I had gotten off work. I had been at work for 10 hours, and I went in with this powder all over my face, like with the sponge, and it just smoothed everything out. It got rid of every piece of oil. It kind of made my makeup look so freshly applied. It does kind of give you a little bit of a pore refining look as well. I love this powder, and the packaging is also really nice as well. So if you have oily skin, I obviously think that it would work really great for you, because it is a blotting powder, and you know, oily skin girls, you definitely need something that's going to be really good and not going to make you look cakey throughout the day. But also, if you have dry skin and you just want to use this as like a finishing powder or to kind of help mask the pores, you can definitely do that as well. Or if you just get oily in certain areas, you can definitely go in and just dab the excess oil off. It does not remove any of your foundation. It is just a good product, and I really like it. Okay, so another product that I have found myself falling in love with, and if you heard me mention earlier, when I first got this product, I actually didn't like it, but it's because I was filming a full face of first impressions, and that was just a disaster, the entire first impressions. And the highlighter, actually, I didn't like the way the highlighter looked on my skin, but I went back in and gave it a second chance, and I was like, holy bejesus, this highlighter is amazing. It is the highlighter that I am wearing on my cheeks today. And if you are familiar with my channel, you know that I have been obsessed with the NARS Banque de Sable highlighter palette like for months. That's no longer available, but this has been giving me that palette a run for its money. I will admit I like that palette more, the Banque de Sable one more, because it can be intense, but it can also be a little bit of a lighter if you want to wear it to work, whereas this is just bam in your face right out of the gate. Now, my two favorite highlighters in this palette are these two guys right here. I do tend to mix them together, and that is what I have on my cheeks today. It is a super intense highlighter. There is absolutely no glitter in these highlighters, and it just blends out and buffs out onto the skin beautifully. Like, you can see me buffing it out right here. It doesn't even really look like a highlight. It just looks like a really beautiful sheen on the skin. Nothing looks chunky, nothing looks overdone. Let me swatch my other favorite one. And they just feel, they have a really interesting consistency to them. Now all of them are powder in the palette except for this one. The reason why I think that they don't feel too chunky and they don't feel overdone is because they almost have like a cream type consistency to them. Like almost like they feel wet to the touch a little bit when you kind of blend your finger into them. And then they just give you that super high shine. Like, I've wiped my finger off, so they give you just a really beautiful high shine without, again, ever looking overdone in the sense of powdery, or in the sense of giving you like those stark lines. Like, it just blends into the skin beautifully. And it's super reflective, super high shine. She has a couple of different ones of these. I didn't tell you which one this one was. I went ahead and picked up the Pink Sand edition because I felt like it was a little bit more unique to my collection. I know she has a summer one out right now, but that's not one that I'm interested in because of the color selection. But as far as the formula of these are concerned, they are beautiful. I'm super, super into them. Now, one thing that I will say that I do like a little bit more than the NARS one, looks like it's a little bit more of a chunky highlighter when you do the initial swatch, which is why I almost didn't buy it originally. But when you blend it into the skin, it does melt into the skin beautifully. This, just on first swatch, it's just a perfect sheen. It never, if you are not interested in like a high shine highlighter, this is not going to be the one for you. So I would say pass on it, because it is going to give you a super, super wet look. But it's absolutely beautiful. I also have the pink one on my eyelids today. You can use makeup any way you want to. Highlighters can definitely be eyeshadow, bronzers can be eyeshadows, eyeshadows can be bronzer and contour. So find the best way that you can get use out of all of your makeup product. This is really, really good. I'm so into it, and I do not regret purchasing it. At first I almost did, but when I played with it a little bit more, I realized how top-notch it actually is. And I definitely say look at the Huda Beauty highlighters if you're in the market for a highlighter. I'm gonna mention two of these products probably a million times between now and the end of the year, because I am in love with them. Like, I am absolutely in love with these products. This is the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze Bronzer in the shade Medium. Now, this is not the bronzer I have on right now. I'm going to mention another bronzer in just a second. This bronzer is foolproof, easy, beautiful makeup. Simple, straight to the point. It never looks overdone. It is one of those bronzers that you can just build up, and you can layer and layer and layer and layer, and it never looks like too much on the skin, because you can see when you blend it out, it is almost like the name suggests, an invisible bronze. But of course, the more you put on, the more it will start to show on the skin. It is, of course, a powder formulation, and it does feel powdery to touch, but when you apply it to the skin, it just blends out like no other. I feel like Bare Minerals, as far as high-end makeup, is a little bit more affordable than some of the other things that you'll find at Sephora and Ulta in the high-end section. I want to say, I'm not really sure how much this bronzer was. I feel like it was under $30, but it's beautiful. It is so beautiful on the skin. It is so natural on the skin. It does, when you look at it, has like a little bit of a sheen inside of it. Like, it looks like it has a little bit of glitter, which the same thing with the Becca Capri Coast, which I feel like I mentioned in my last video. Now, the Becca is a little bit more intense, and it gives a little bit more of a color payoff than this one will on first application, but don't let like the glitter, I don't know if you can see it on camera. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there is definitely a little bit of a glitter or shimmer or whatever you want to call it inside of the pan. It does not translate onto the cheeks. I think that's another reason that makes it more beautiful and gives, I was about to show you because it's usually the bronzer I'm wearing, but I'm not wearing this one today. It just gives you a healthy bronzed look. And you guys know I'm super picky about my bronzers, especially when it comes to my forehead, because I have a lot of discoloration on my forehead, and bronzers can tend to look choppy and can tend to look muddy on my forehead if I'm not super careful. I do never, ever since the moment that I have applied this bronzer, have had a problem with it. You can use any type of brush with this bronzer. I've really been into that MAC brush that I mentioned in my last favorites video. That's typically how I will apply this product, but it is definitely worth a look. We're going to talk about another bronzer that I have been loving, and this is the bronzer that I'm actually wearing today. I did a dedicated video to this product and a couple of other of Ciate London's new products. This is the Ciate London Palm Island bronzer. Now, this is a super matte bronzer, and this one I feel like in the pan, it definitely looks like it has a little bit more of a yellow undertone, whereas the Bare Minerals definitely looks a little bit darker in the pan. I typically would get light in most of my bronzers because the Bare Mineral one was so light and so invisible that I felt like I needed to go up a little bit in color just to get the payoff. I wanted a little bit more. Whereas this is the lighter of the two. And like I mentioned, this is all matte. And that's what this guy looks like. Let me swatch it next to the Bare Mineral ones. Oh wow, no wonder I love them both. You can tell that they are very similar. This is the Bare Mineral one right here, which I feel like is a little bit on the more neutral side, whereas the Ciate London one looks like it has a little bit more warmth when I'm looking at them in my monitor on camera. But as I kind of look at them side by side, they are very similar. Now, in the side-by-side swatch, you can definitely see the little bit of sheen that I was mentioning that the Bare Minerals has. But once you blend it out, like I mentioned, that is completely gone. Whereas this is going to be a matte bronzer through and through. Now, it does have a little hint of warmth, but I feel like I can kind of get away with doing like a contoury bronze with this particular product because it is a little bit lighter on the skin, and I do feel like it looks a little bit warm on the skin, but I do feel like it pulls a little bit yellow when applied, and I don't mind that because warm bronzers tend to make me look, especially with the discoloration on my forehead, bronzers can make me look very Oompa Loompa very quickly. So I tend to prefer a little bit more of a neutral bronze. It feels a little bit softer to the touch. I mean, it's pressed firmly, but I mean as far as the Bare Mineral ones, this one definitely feels like a lot more of a smoother powder. It definitely feels like it has a little bit more of a smoother consistency. It's just easy to work with. It is a beautiful undertone. If I had to pick one, I would say to go with the Bare Mineral one. The reason why I would say to pick the Bare Mineral one over this one is because there are more of these bronzers, so I feel like you will have an easier time finding one that works for your skin tone a little bit better, whereas there's only two of these, a light medium and a medium deep. So that they are both pretty highly rated on Sephora's website. If you're looking for a good bronzer, you can't go wrong with either one of them. Y'all, I'm not even gonna play any games. This will be the last time I mention this foundation, which is probably not true, but I have to give it one more shout out because I love it so much. And it's pretty much like I've mentioned, unless I'm filming a Foundation Friday, this is the foundation that I have worn in every single one of my videos, pretty much. I reach for this foundation a ton. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've used it so much. I'm probably about halfway through it because it is the only foundation I wear. I do wear two other ones that I put in my Project Empties. I reach for a lot, but it pains me to have to wear any other foundation other than this one. This is the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra-Longwear Foundation. Now, I'm not going to talk about this foundation very long because I do have a full dedicated video to this. I've talked about it in favorites videos. I practically talk about it almost in every video where there is a need to talk about this foundation. So pretty much every single week when I do a Foundation Friday, this foundation gets mentioned. It is flawless coverage. It is full coverage. It lasts all day on the skin. It is beautiful. It does not sink into fine lines like in an aggressive way. It will, of course, throughout the day because, I mean, it's gonna happen. There's no foundation where it doesn't happen with, but it does it in a nice, beautiful way. Like, it lasts all day on the skin. The undertone is perfect. The color is perfect. It doesn't oxidize. It doesn't move around. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't accentuate too much oil if you're oily. If you're dry, I feel like if you go in with like a nice hydrating primer, it will work for you. This is one of my finds of 2017 that I'm in love with, that I'm obsessed with, that you will probably be hearing about like next year and the year after that and the year after that. I really like this foundation a lot. So I will link a couple of the videos where I did mention this foundation down below. So if you want to check out a little bit more of an in-detail review, it'll be there for you guys. But top notch, love this foundation. Now, this is a product that you probably have not heard me mention very much on my channel. It is one of my more recent purchases. This is the Tarte Clay Play Face Shaping Palette. Now, this is the most basic of basic eyeshadow palette, so I feel like there's not going to be a need for everybody to pick this up because chances are you have something like this. Oh, it smells really good. Every time you open it, you get like a whiff of like chocolatey goodness. Now, what I like about it is the face products are actually really nice in this. They work really well. They blend really easily. I'm really into this desert shade. I think it's super beautiful. So if you do not have a lot of makeup in your collection, I think that this is definitely a good bang for your buck. Like I mentioned, it's just going to be your everyday neutral palette that's not going to take you very far. You're not going to get a lot of different looks out of this, but it is a staple product to have. Now, I actually really like Tarte eyeshadows. I think that Tarte, let me stop fidgeting with this. I actually really like Tarte's eyeshadows. I think that Tarte has really, really good eyeshadows, and I think that they get a lot of hate with their stuff is because it's so basic, and they do a lot of these neutral palettes. Now, it's a good palette. The formulation on this eyeshadows are really good. They blend themselves. Like I mentioned, the face palettes are really good. I just wanted to give this a quick mention because if you need a staple product, if you need a staple palette, you know, it has everything you need, especially if, you know, you have an all shimmery palette, maybe like the Kat Von D palette, or if you're considering picking up the new Desi and Katie, you know, Dose of Colors 4-pan little palettes, or, you know, just if you have, you know, a palette, if you don't have a lot of mattes in your collection, this will definitely take you where you need to go. It has mostly cool, and I've been into it a lot. I've been wearing it a lot in my crease. My favorite palette as of right now, as of late, is the Dose of Colors palette. The Baked Browns, I love that, but you can't pick that up at Sephora, and it's not really that new. But I will tell you that if I could recommend a palette right now, it would be the Dose of Colors. But if you're looking for an all-inclusive, all-in-one palette, this is really good for you as well. They're all matte. I don't know if I mentioned that, but they are all matte, and you get the 3 contour shades. Of course, your contour shades can also be put in the crease as well. I use this one in the crease all the time, and I think it is the perfect crease shade for my skin tone. One of those palettes that you can look at and not get, and I always like to mention this, especially if you are new to makeup, if you are new to eyeshadow and things like that, it's one of those palettes that you can look at and not get confused, especially because they have it sectioned off. So these colors can all go together and create a complete eye look. Same with this, or you can mix and match. But I really like eyeshadow palettes like that whenever they just kind of do the guessing work for you. So you can just kind of go in and say, oh, okay, so I can put this on my, you know, my brow bone, or oh, okay, this can go all over my lid. And it's just good product. I like Tarte eyeshadows. I think that they are completely underplayed, and this is a good product. We're going to talk about it one last time, and then I feel like you will have gotten the message. But another product that is super good, that I'm super into, I've heard a lot of people say that they prefer the editorial one a little bit, but I'm not really an editorial type girl. I've considered picking it up, but like I've mentioned in the past, I don't have a need for eyeshadows like that because I would never really use them. But this is the Sephora Pro Pigment Warm Palette. It does retail for 68 bucks. And it is a little bit on the powdery side, but you can definitely see that I have been digging into this palette a lot. With the exception of the Baked Browns palette, the Tarte palette, and I haven't really been using any of my other palettes, not even my Jaclyn Hill palette I have been reaching for, because the palettes I have been reaching for this one a lot more. Now, the Jaclyn Hill palette is very similar to this, and it does have a lot of the same shades and similar undertones. So if you already have the Jaclyn Hill palette, you don't need that. Now, this is $68, so like it is not cheap, but it is definitely every eyeshadow that you would ever need in life. So this one has a bunch of different finishes. So you have like your metallics, you have a couple of toppers, eyeshadow toppers, and you have a ton of warm browns. Now, of course, if you're not into warm shadows, you might not like this. Maybe you'll like the Tarte one. You can go a little bit further with the Tarte one. But again, that one is all matte, so if you ever want shimmers, then you definitely would need something else. Whereas this one gives you everything that you need to create every warm tone eyeshadow look under the sun. It's just been really, really good, and the mattes in here are exceptionally blendable. The color payoff on these is absolutely beautiful. I do my eye makeup first most days, so I never have to worry about a ton of fallout. It is a powdery palette though, so there will be a little bit of fallout if you're not careful. You know, go in really lightly with a brush. Like, this is kind of pretty much how I apply my eyeshadows with a brush. I go in a couple of times, tap off the excess, and then I go in with my eyeshadow on my eye, so I never experience too much fallout. I did a full first impression on this eyeshadow palette. I talked about it in a favorites video as well, so you guys know that I love it. Now, I don't really hear a lot about the cool tone palette. I guess maybe that one was a little bit of a dud, I'm not sure. Or maybe people just tend to be a little bit more into warm tones than cool tones. But the formula is going to be the same through and through on all 3 palettes, so I definitely think that they are worth checking out, whichever one you are drawn to, whether it be the warm, the cool, or the editorial. I definitely think it is worth taking a look at one. Of course, I couldn't speak on the other 2 because I don't own those. I only own the warm one, but just go into Sephora, swatch them, play with them. I think they're really good if you can get past the $68 price point. So this is another Sephora product that is new to the market that I have been really enjoying. And then the last and final product that I am going to mention is the Touch in Sol No Problem Primer. Now this is also very affordable as well. This is $18. Now it is always in and out of stock. The reason why is because it's good and also because it's pretty affordable. $18 for a pore filling primer. Like, you cannot beat a price like that unless you want to venture over to the drugstore. But for high end, this is like as good as it's gonna get. It comes with the pump, it's glass packaging, so you might not want to travel with this because it could potentially break. You did get 1 ounce of product in here. Now it does have dimethicone in it. It doesn't have like a super dimethicone-y feel to it, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like a true pore filling primer. Like, it almost has a little bit of a hydrating feel to it, so to where it would actually be really good for dry skin as well if you were looking to fill some pores, because it doesn't have that full dimethicone almost like where it can ball up on the skin. A lot of pore filling primers, especially if you have drier skin, it can kind of ball up on the skin and make a foundation application a nightmare, which is why a lot of people with drier skin tend to not like pore filling primers. So this is definitely a good one. I feel like if you have oily skin, it'll work for you as well. It has a little bit more of a slip to it. It has a little bit more of a moisturizer feel. Let's dry down to like a matte consistency, but not a scary matte, not a matte foundation that a dry girl would not use. I guess that is the best way to describe it. I feel like I'm not describing it like the absolute best, but trust me, it is a really, really, really good product. The price is right, the packaging is right. I feel like everything about this product is actually really good. I sleep on it. Get yourself on the email notification list and purchase this, snag this up the very next time it is in stock. You will not regret it. Like, I know you won't. All right, guys, and that is pretty much it. Those are all of the different products that I definitely think that you should have your eye on at Sephora. If you were gonna pick up one product from this video, I mean just one product, I'm gonna give it a second so you guys can take a minute to guess the product that I'm gonna recommend. If you're gonna buy any product, or if you're wanting to try any product that I recommend, this is it. And I'm pushing it so hard because I absolutely love it, but I'm always terrified. Like, when I say something is so amazing, you absolutely have to try it. I'm always so scared that you're gonna hate it, but I love it. And I've seen a couple of you guys tell me down below that you actually really like it too, and you picked it up per my recommendation, which means so much to me that you trust my opinion enough to really want to try some of the things that I recommend. I love this product. It's in my top 5 of favorite things to try out in 2017. And I do like the Bite Beauty ones. I'll give an honorable mention to the new Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche liquefied lipsticks, but I haven't been playing with those enough to go out and run and get them, but I have been enjoying them. So those are an honorable mention as well if you're looking for some new lip products. I do like those a lot. So yeah, those are all of the different products that I've been super into at Sephora over the last, I'd say, 2 months or so. So I've definitely had some time to play with all of these products, some more than others. I highly recommend to every last one of them. If you ever pick up anything per my recommendation and love it, let me know down below. And if you even hate it, let me know down below and let me know why. I really appreciate you guys trusting me and trusting my opinion enough to pick up some of the things that I recommend. And I always want to hear your thoughts and feedback on them. So yeah, you guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.